Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to Mindbody Medicine for Chronic Pain. My name is Sean Hershey. I am your host, and we've got a bonus episode today, just a quick one. And the reason I want to talk to you is because as I was recording the last two solo episodes, so that would be Season 4, Episode 2, which is my insert symptom here TMS. That's basically like, how do you know if you have TMS, or at least how to get a grip on like making sense of like what is TMS and how do I know if I have it. That was the second most recent solo episode, and then the most recent solo episode, Season 4, Episode 4, that was 3 steps to heal chronic pain. And that's all about like if you know you have TMS, what do you do to heal? And as I was recording those last two, I was like, wow, I really am doing a great overview of TMS and how to heal in like 2 hours. And that's amazing. Congratulations, Sean. You're doing great. And I was like feeling great about that. And then when I listened back as they came out, I was like, well, that's a lot of information covered like pretty effectively, I would say, if I do say so myself. But like, wow, that's going to be like very overwhelming if someone's new to this. But like, it is what it is. Learning a new paradigm is a lot. That's okay. Teaching a new paradigm is a lot. That's okay. And then I was like, oh my God. Oh my God, I completely forgot to cover a totally essential and completely basic and 100% fundamental part of the TMS healing journey. Oh my God, I totally neglected such an important piece. And here I was like cramming all the information in and talking really fast and being like, we're going to get this done in under 2 hours. And I forgot something. Do you know what it is? Can anyone guess? Well, if you listen to the last 2 solo episodes, what did I completely forget? Folks, I totally forgot to discuss the fucking symptom imperative. Wow. Like, how do you forget about the symptom imperative? How could anyone forget about the fucking symptom imperative? Well, look, guess what happened? I did. But okay. We're going to get to the symptom imperative momentarily. But honestly, this actually gives us an opportunity to zoom out and talk about something even more important than any specific like piece of mind-body knowledge. And that is this. Learning unfolds in layers. Healing unfolds in layers. Here I am thinking I summed up TMS so perfectly, but it is a very complex subject. There's always more to understand. And this is a good reminder to both you and me. Insight about the connection between the mind and the body. Insight about how your body works and how your mind works and how the universe works. Insight unfolds in layers. There's always more to learn. You don't know everything. Your conscious brain does not know everything, and insight happens slowly. New levels of insight and understanding occur in the brain with the same words over time. So let me give an example, like saying to yourself about your pain, like, this is my emotions. I have been in a place where, like, I'll sort of just like say that to myself as a brief sort of self-talk about a symptom I may be experiencing. It's like, this is my emotions. Okay. Keep it pushing, moving on. Those same words, if I'm really feeling into it and it's just a different time and I'm just in a different mood and at a different level of readiness, I can be like, oh my God, this pain is my emotions. These are my emotions. And that can hit on such a deep, visceral level, like, this is me. This is who I am. This is what I feel. This is what I have to feel. This is the only choice I have in this life. There's nothing else I can feel but what I feel. And then it becomes like existential. The same words, this pain is my emotions, can be at the surface, or those same words, this pain is my emotions, can go real deep. Another example, I am safe. Like, when that that can be used on sort of like a shallow level of consciousness, like kind of like ineffective self-talk. If you're freaking out, like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, freaking out, okay, I'm safe, I'm safe, not a big deal, oh my god, still freaking out, still freaking out. The words I am safe can be used at that level of consciousness, or they can hit deep when you go like deep down into those deeper layers and you're like, whoa, wait, I am safe until I literally die, or unless this thing literally causes me to die, I am safe. Wow. That knowledge is so freeing. Whoa, mind body work is actually completely rewriting my relationship with fear, which is changing my entire life and making everything feel so much more open and loose. And that's nuts. And thank God I got into this, because this is so healing. And yeah, that revelation comes from the same words, you are safe. Isn't that nuts? Same words, deeper understanding, deeper meaning. Learning unfolds slowly. Healing unfolds slowly. Understanding deepens slowly. And learning and wisdom comes slowly over time. All right. On that same, on that same page, I want to talk about, this is wisdom from Nicole Sachs, the journey up the mountain. Nicole Sachs teaches, and this is so helpful, and I have found so much, I'm just like, yeah, this is true. Like, I've found that this is true. Life is not a journey up the mountain from the bottom to the top in a straight line. Life is a journey up the mountain, going around and around the mountain in concentric circles. And when you're on the shadow side of the mountain again, you're like, how is this possible? How am I back where I started? Like, what? I've been here before. I dealt with this already. I've been through this already. I figured this one out already, and I'm back? How did this happen? Okay. The journey around the mountain in concentric circles, when we know that piece of wisdom teaches us, look up, look down. You may feel you're in the same place, but if you look up, you will see you are closer to the top than you were the last time. Look down, you will see you are further from the bottom than you were the last time. You are growing. Your wisdom is accumulating. You are getting wiser. You are getting stronger. You are evolving. And you're going around the mountain. So you're learning different versions of the same lesson over and over and over again. Just like I am learning different versions of the same lesson over and over and over again. And just like everybody in this world is learning different versions of the same lesson over and over and over again. I just want to briefly give the example. I've talked about this before on a podcast, but I don't remember which one. It's probably a while ago. When I was 17 years old, that was my senior year in high school. And as part of Catholic school, we were all like a vibe in Catholic school, at least where I went to school. It was very like kind of like self-helpy, like group retreat forward kind of feel. And that was great. I mean, I was all about, like, when religion class was like, about like learning about Jesus and the Bible and stuff, that was like a total snooze. But when religion class was about like, basically it was like a self-help retreat, and you're like doing like group work together. That was awesome. And so my senior year, we did a retreat that was, like Catholic coded and like religious in nature, but was very much like a self-help personal growth kind of retreat. And part of it was like, I remember this so clearly, sharing things that you were letting go, which is like, thinking about that now, honestly, that like kind of makes me emotional. Like at age 17, oh my God, like that, what a transition. I mean, we were, some of us were 18. I'm young for my age, so I was 17, but we were like at the cusp of being adults, legally, at least being adults. And here we were in this retreat center in like rural Minnesota in the woods. And we're talking about like what we want to leave behind. Literally, I could cry thinking about that. It's like thinking about like what you want to leave in your childhood, what you want to leave behind, and how you want to grow up and be an adult and be different. And I remember people saying some pretty profound shit. Like I remember thinking like, I mean, like now as a trained social worker, I'm like, I would have to be on the phone to fucking child protection. Some of the shit that people were disclosing. Like people were sharing some really profound shit maybe profound is not even the way. Well, yeah, yes, profound. And trauma. People were sharing like family of origin trauma, abso-fucking-lutely. And to think like, we're sharing like this is what I want to leave behind and keep in my childhood and let go of as I grow into an adult. Wow. So what I shared was that, and I still remember this so clearly. I was like, I've always thought of myself as like not as good as other people, and that other people are more whole than me, or more like they've got life figured out more so than me, and they're more real than me. And I'm like, just not as good as other people. And now, this is me at age 17. I'm like, now I know that's not true. I've had all these experiences where I do feel like a person who's good enough, and I do feel like a person who deserves to be honored and valued. And I know now that I deserve that, and I know that I'm not a second-rate human being, and I'm so grateful to know that now, and I am going to leave that behind, and I'm going to grow up to be an adult without that belief. And I remember like walking through the woods of this retreat center, having just talked about that in this group, and everybody's like, "That's right, Sean. Awesome. We support you. You are the best. Don't believe bad things about yourself." Because I mean, as traumatizing as Catholic school was in certain ways, it was awesome in other ways. And the people who I went to school with were mostly really good people. Like the peers who I grew up with were mostly really good people. We were just stuck in a really like homophobic system. But as I'm walking through the woods reflecting on like how nice was that, I remember thinking like, wow, I'm so glad that I left that in my past. You see where this is going. Joke's on me, right? What I didn't know at that time is that life doesn't work like that. You don't leave these problems in your childhood and then grow into an adult where you can just let it go and let it be in the past. Life is a journey around the mountain. Around and around and around. How many times have I between age 17 and now when I'm 37, that's exactly 20 years. How many times have I been stuck in the place of I'm not as good as everyone else. I'm a second-rate human being. How many times have I been stuck in that exact same place? A lot. A lot. That is something I still find myself dealing with, and I'm sure I will still deal with the thoughts like that and emotional things like that in the future. Positive. But here's the thing that I know now, and you know now because you're listening to this. Life is a journey around the mountain, around and around in concentric circles. And if you look up, you will see you're closer to the top this time than you were before. And if you look down, you will see you are further from the bottom than you were before. Such an evocative way to see that learning unfolds in layers. Wisdom unfolds in layers. That is how life goes. You don't catch it all one time. Okay. I wish life were easier, but turns out it's not. So here we are. And that is a great intro for me to briefly explain what got us here in the first place. I didn't talk about the symptom imperatives, so let me just lay that on you in case anybody does not know what that is. The symptom imperative. Dr. Sarno, when he was working with patients, he would notice that somebody's back pain would improve or somebody's IBS would improve and somebody, they would have no symptoms at all or no chronic symptoms and doing way better. And then they come back a couple months later, they come back a year later, or maybe they come back several years later with a new complaint. Now it's the foot. Now it's the shoulder. Now it's pelvic pain. Now it's, some other part of the body. And often they wouldn't go right back to him. They would be like, well, I fixed my back pain, but now I have terrible headaches. So they would go through a whole fucking thing with the headaches and this treatment and that treatment and nothing's working. And oh my God, the headaches, I'm stuck. This is just like the back pain. Oh my God, wait, what? Light bulb moment. Maybe this is the same. Obviously, it's a different symptom, but maybe it's the same basic process. Whoa, let me go back to Dr. Sarno. So then they go back to Dr. Sarno and he would say, correct. That's what we're dealing with. This is the symptom imperative. TMS symptoms move around. All the symptoms feel different. All the symptoms are different, but they come from the same underlying process, which is it's your nervous system, it's your brain, it's your emotional and psychological life. TMS symptoms come from that deeper existential plane, from the emotional and psychological life. They don't come from the plane of like something's physically wrong with my structural, body at the site of the pain, or I have some disease that's at the site of the pain. TMS symptoms come from that deeper existential plane, the emotional and the psychological. And so it can move around. It can absolutely move around. So it is so important for you as you're recovering from this to know that it is so important to keep thinking psychologically rather than just thinking physically and structurally about all of your symptoms. Because just because you have, the TMS back pain, that doesn't mean that you don't and can't and would never have TMS manifesting anywhere else in your body, because it can manifest anywhere. It moves around. So this knowing about the symptom imperative is an invitation to apply the psychological and emotional logic to all the symptoms you feel in your body, all of the symptoms, every part in your body. Know that that is an important part of this healing work. Understand that the symptom imperative can move around. The other thing, as long as I'm like addressing things that I said in the last couple episodes, I might as well address this piece too. I'm like, normally, it's a good thing I don't like normally do this. Like, go back to the episode and be like, let me just add or let me take out. It's like move forward, don't move back. But as long as we're looking back and I'm adding some more stuff, let me just say one of the episodes, now I forget which of the recent episodes that this was in, but I was talking about the tendency that people with TMS, people like you and me, people with the TMS personalities, the tendency that we are just likely to have to not spend money on our true selves. That is something that a lot of us tend to do. And I was just talking about that tendency and I was like, spend the money, just do it, get a job. Which, very Republican dad vibes. Sometimes I need to hear that. Sometimes I need to hear get a job, and maybe you need to hear that too. And if that lands with you, sort of like get your shit together and put one foot in front of the other and move. If you need to hear that, great. There you go. That said, that message is not for everyone. And I'm saying that in a very sort of like flip way as I talk about this. Some people, I know some of you listening, you have severe TMS. The TMS can be incredibly severe. Maybe you're on disability. Maybe you would fucking love to get a job, but you physically can't right now. That's okay. That's totally okay. My Republican dad vibes telling you to get a job, that doesn't apply to you right now. Okay? Okay. Just making sure that's clear. If you're disabled, you're disabled. You can't get a job right now. Work on your healing, and then we'll see what the next step is. So just want to throw that out there that, like, that is what I mean by that. Okay. And so a part of me wants to be like, okay, so if you just listen to the last 2 solo episodes that I did, plus this bonus episode, you will know everything you need to know about TMS. But I'm like, that's not how it works. It's not how it works. There's no such thing as that kind of simple of an answer. I will say, those last 2 episodes, that's a real good primer. I think it's a real good primer. Read Healing Back Pain by Dr. Sarno, real good primer. Read The Way Out by Alan Gordon, real good primer. Read Mind Your Body by Nicole Sachs, real good primer. Listen to, what I recommend with my podcast is listen to those first, the first 5 episodes. That I think is a real good primer for understanding the work I do with people, which is, it's all the same. It's all like slightly different versions of the same thing. The first 5 episodes of my podcast are a really good primer to understand what is going on here and what I talk about. And learning unfolds in layers. I have to be real. There's no way that you can listen to a couple things and take in a couple pieces of information and you are healed. Sometimes, but always learning unfolds in layers, healing unfolds in layers, and there's always more to discover. And isn't that actually fun? Because then you can live in a space of like existential mystery, which is just a space of truth, because you don't understand everything. Your conscious brain doesn't get it all. Same. And so what we know if we live in that place is that there's always more to learn, and that's exciting. Okay, stay on the path. You're on the right path. You're on the path of existential mystery, and you're learning more. So just keep going. Keep going in this direction. Stay on this path. And as you do more emotional and psychological work, yup, you already know, that heals your chronic pain. Okay. Very last thing, since I barely had time to discuss like develop a daily practice, I just want to throw this out there, develop a daily practice. There are so many ways to quote unquote do mind body quote unquote work. Maybe you're doing like Nicole Sachs recommends, a 28-day journal speak challenge. Great. There you've got 28 days of a daily practice. Awesome. Good for you. Maybe you're super excited about doing new things and expanding your physical capacity. So you are putting yourself on a graded exposure regimen and you're doing a little bit of something new and something challenging and questioning your triggers and challenging your triggers. You're doing a little bit each day. Perfect. That's an awesome daily practice. Maybe you're starting trauma therapy, even though it's scary. Maybe you know that's something you need. Great. That's a weekly practice. Good for you. Maybe you're being honest with people in your life, being real about how you really feel. And of course, you don't have to share everything if it's going to like really freak people out. Some people can't handle the whole truth. Fine. But you are starting to learn how to set boundaries and talk about what you really think and feel for real with others. Awesome. That is an awesome interpersonal daily practice. Good for you. Great. Speaking your mind for real. You're teaching your brain and your body that it's safe to be in your body. It's safe to feel physical sensations. It's safe to feel your emotions, and it's safe to be your true self. There are so many ways to do that. You can do a little bit of that every day, and that is the healing. Boom. Okay. Brief little talk. Hope that's helpful for you, and I will plan to talk to you on Sunday. looking for a therapist, you found one. And you can decide, does my vibe resonate with you? Therapy is an opportunity. Therapy is an opportunity to tune into you, to learn to feel more comfortable being yourself, to feel more comfortable with your emotions, and to feel more comfortable existing in the world, in your body. So whatever you're struggling with, chronic pain or otherwise, the opportunity that therapy provides is an opportunity for profound healing. Do you have difficulties in your life? Do you want a therapist to help you? And would you like me to get to know you and to help you? If so, that is actually an option. You can find me at seanhershey.com or mindbodymedicineforchronicpain.com. Both go to the same place. And if you're looking for me, I would welcome a message from you. seanhershey.com, mindbodymedicineforchronicpain.com, and you can request a free consultation.